Law enforcement has told CBS News that the alleged shooter was firing from about 200 to 300 yards away. So we're talking about a football field away from Trump on the stage. He was not within the security perimeter, but it's raising all sorts of questions. How did the police, how did Secret Service not spot this, not stop this? This is a small town. This is a town of about 12,000 people when there isn't a rally going on in it. Now, there are going to be a lot of questions for the Secret Service, a lot of questions for police coming up, especially on top of reports. The Federalist is reporting that the Trump campaign has been asking for increased protection in recent weeks. So who do they ask for that? Trump, as a former president, is entitled to Secret Service protection. He's the nominee of the Republican Party, so they should probably boost his Secret Service a little bit. But in recent weeks, with the collapse of the Biden campaign, with the crisis in the Democrat Party, calls for a new nominee, the disastrous debate for Biden, Trump's continued elevation in the polls, obviously things are getting a little bit more perilous for Trump. Everything that his opponents have tried to do to stop him from becoming the next president have failed. So some of us have observed that the only thing left for them to do is to kill him.
You might have heard that yet another intruder broke into my house this week and then returned to my house again shortly after the police released him. Last month, an armed gunman using falsified U.S. Marshal badges and phony federal ID and carrying an arsenal in his backpack tried to approach me at a speech in Los Angeles, a short distance from where my dad was assassinated.
It doesn't take a brain surgeon, doesn't take a genius to understand that this could have happened, especially while the Democrats are saying Trump poses an existential threat to democracy and Trump is the next Hitler, and insinuating that they could take him out by any means necessary.
I don't want to make too big a deal of it, except that it highlights the need for Secret Service protection. Every presidential candidate since the 1970s who's asked for Secret Service protection has received it, including my uncle, Edward Kennedy, Walter Mondale, John Glenn, Gary Hart, George McGovern, Bill Clinton, George Bush, John Kerry, Mitt Romney, Bernie Sanders, and many, many others. They've all received early Secret Service protection. Barack Obama received protection almost 2 years before the election. However, President Biden has made the historic decision to deny me a Secret Service detail. I'm the only one in history whose request has ever been denied. I don't spend time worrying about my personal safety, but I do worry about the safety of my family and their sense of well-being, and about the safety of bystanders if there happens to be a more serious incident. I'm troubled mostly by the weaponization of federal law enforcement agencies to serve political agendas. It's not right for the president to provide protection for his family and political favorites while denying it to his political rivals. You can't have a functioning democracy when candidates aren't safe. Elections and not assassinations are supposed to decide who takes office in America. In its threat assessment, the Secret Service concluded that I am at an elevated risk. The decision, therefore, to deny me protection was a naked political calculation. During his first week as Attorney General, my father assembled all the Department of Justice senior prosecutors to tell them that he would not tolerate any politicization of law enforcement. President Biden displays a bust of my father in the Oval Office, but he seems to have forgotten this critical tenet of American democracy.
So, at this perilous moment, according to this report from the Federalist, the Trump campaign asks for more Secret Service. Well, that means they have to ask the Department of Homeland Security. Department of Homeland Security is run by Alejandro Mayorkas for Joe Biden. So if that report is accurate, there are going to be a lot of questions. Did the Biden administration intentionally deprive President Trump of service, of Secret Service, of security at a time when his life was in danger? You couple that with Joe Biden, his entire administration melting down 5 days ago, then speaking to donors, saying it's a little spooky. One of my lights just went out, and with